Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap. I'm Amy Johnson reporting for the AHL Report. Well, the IceCaps wrapped up their Pennsylvania road trip last week and ended up pretty much at 500 for the entire road trip. Of the 6 games, they won 3 and they lost 3. And the ones that they won were quite exciting. The ones that they lost were a little tough to take. So we'll take a look at what happened last week. Last week, they kicked things off during their week with a Wednesday night visit to the league-leading Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. They had actually downed the Penguins 5-2 the previous Friday evening in their own barn, and the IceCaps came back again into Mohegan Sun Arena at KC Plaza and did it again, and this time they did it in style. They shut out the Penguins 4-0. Again, this is the league-leading Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Shut them out 4-0, and everyone was contributing on this night. Goals were scored by Charlie Hudon, Chris Terry, Zach Redmond had his first goal of the season on the power play, and Yannick Veilleux had a shorthanded goal to get that 4-0 score at the end of the night. And so it was a resounding win for the IceCaps, especially coming off of a back-to-back series against Hershey in which they dropped both games against the Bears. So this was a great pick-me-up for the team heading into the second-ranked team in the AHL, the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, then on Friday and Saturday. So Friday night, the IceCaps came to Allentown and headed to the PPL Center to take on the Phantoms, and despite looking great in the first period and really putting some pressure on and matching the speed of the Phantoms and their puck controlling ability, unfortunately, they took the foot off the gas within the last 5 minutes or so of the game, and instead of getting at least 1 point and heading to overtime, they ended up dropping this one 4-2. Goals were scored by Bobby Farnham and Charles Hudon in this game, but like I said, turnovers were particularly a problem. Specialty teams basically didn't show up. They had 5 power play opportunities, couldn't convert on any of them, and it was an overall disappointing performance and a disappointing outcome for the IceCaps. So they turned around the very next day on Saturday, came back into the building, and this time they took it to the Phantoms, and it was an exciting and intense matchup. They won this one 4-3, and the goals in this one were scored by Nikita Sherbak. Chris Terry scored on the power play. Mark McMillan had a goal, and Charles Hudon yet again finished things up for that 4th goal of the night, and things looked a lot better in this particular game, and it was a great way for the IceCaps to wrap up their road trip. So they then headed back to St. John's and are looking forward to starting another homestand this week. Before that happened, however, there were some transactions over the last week. Jakob de la Rose was sent back down last Wednesday on the same day that Daniel Carr and Michael McCarron were recalled to Montreal. McCarron played in 3 games. Daniel Carr played in 2 games with Montreal. Both have been since reassigned to St. John's yet again, so they will be back in the lineup with St. John's this week. Looking ahead at this week, there are 4 games on the schedule for the IceCaps this week. Things kick off on Tuesday and Wednesday with a back-to-back series against the Binghamton Senators, and those games are at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Newfoundland Time, and then the week ends with a Saturday-Sunday matchup against the Syracuse Crunch. So some divisional play this week, which will be quite essential at this time of year as playoff standings are really starting to take shape. The series against the Syracuse Crunch, Saturday night's game, is at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Newfoundland Time, and then a Sunday matinee game at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Newfoundland Time. Be sure to check us out online at AHL Report, and that's ahl.report online. You can also follow along with all of the games, live updates at each one on Twitter at the AHL Report. And of course, check us out on Instagram as well at AHL Report, where we have exclusive game photographs to share with you. And then on Twitter and on our website, you'll see full game recaps, weekly forecasts, as well as audio from player interviews and coach interviews, and again, more exclusive photographs. So be sure to check us out online, and be sure to meet me back here next week for another edition of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Amy Johnson.